Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Got something to work on. I'm sure that that's not the way that's held. And I am in luck because the collet is not rusted in place. Yep, I think we're in good shape. Motor runs. I imagine this bearing needs something. We'll have to get out the schematic and see what's going on there. But it runs. I have a cord for it. It runs. The collet works. This is a router. A few minor things that need fixing. But basically, it's a nice one. Left wire goes on the left side, right wire goes on the right side. This is a heat shrink tube from Harbor Freight. It's all pretty much the same stuff, and this is inexpensive. I'm going to see if this 1/4 inch will slip over this wire. Oh yeah. Not exactly easily, but it does go over, and that is good enough. Pair of shears probably work better for that. There. Now do the other one. Same way, if I can. Now, these ends were clipped off. You can see that the side is a little narrow there. I don't know why they did that. Must have been some kind of thinking that there was not enough clearance on the switch. And I'm okay with that. I'm not going to change it. Well, that works better. Just pinching it so it goes over the top of the crimp-on terminal. A little easier. There we go. Trim that off. Reach down inside there and grab a hold of the end of the terminal with this pair of needle nose pliers, and there we go. Now, this bent tip pair of needle nose pliers, I had these since I worked at Borg Warner. I found them in the bottom of an oven. That's why they're so corroded, but it took a while. I got them to move. A lot of oil and working them and working them and working them. They still don't work easily, but that's okay. That's kind of nice having them a little stiff because they tend to stay where you put them. You can kind of use them like a mini clamp and clamp onto something, and a piece of wire will stay right there while you're working with it. I dip these handles in Plasti Dip, and this is the only actual pair of pliers that it worked on. I don't do anything rough with them. It's kind of comfortable in my hand and makes it so they don't slip, but it's not very durable. But for this case, works just fine. Scout Crafter mentioned that these bases would lock onto the motor and freeze up. And looking at this thing now, after seeing his comment, I can see that the galling on the outside of the motor housing is pretty prevalent. And it's showing up here on the inside of this too. Now, I don't know if this is something that was added later, or if that was an original item to have the lock on the base. They had this thing, which is looks like a 1/4-20 screw. Let's double check that to see just exactly what that is. Yeah, that's a 1/4-20. Looks like the first couple of, yeah, like the first 1/4 inch of threads is stripped out on that. So they needed that long a screw just so that it would engage. I was hoping that the head on this would extend down far enough to catch, but there's a pocket in there so that the head can spin. I think if I take a piece of threaded rod and make a square plate that'll go down into that, it will lock in. And I need that much thread just because it goes clear up to there. And this is aluminum. You need that much thread just to make sure that the thing engages and stays hooked. And with this bolt, I'd need a wrench to lock it down. So, this little handle might be a candidate for a thread insert. And then a square bar. Something that would go in there and connect with that and not spin. Looking at the hole, I don't have a little finger, but This looks to be some kind of a latching mechanism there, so that they might have had a bolt with a, oh, like a carriage bolt. Wonder if a carriage bolt would fit in there. Let's see. That's a 1/4 20. Well, it's not stock, but then this thing has long since lost its claim to stock. Taking a file and notching that out to handle the square head on a carriage bolt, that would make this whole operation a lot better. And then putting an insert in there makes it so that this would thread down and tighten up. I think that's a good way to go. Couple of options. Now we've plugged in the heater, and I want to draw these insulating shrink tubes around that. See if I can do this without damaging anything inside. That's one of the things that's nice about this pair of pliers. I can clip it on there, and it will stay, even though I'm not gripping the handle. So that's not a problem with this wire, and it's not a problem with this job. So oiling this pair of pliers, not part of the game. Put that on heat, it makes it work better. This is meant for a different style of machine. That's definitely going to grip a hold of that quite well. I don't think I need to do anything with this other than attach this and then tighten it down. This little screw goes down through that. I think I can attach the ground wire between there and there. going to have a little bit of a gap. It's not going to be watertight. Is that going to be enough? Yep. I just need a little tiny bit of this ground wire, because all it's got to do is just go from there right to there. And there's not a whole lot of room in here. There. When I was working on this, I dropped one of these little screws. It bounced onto the floor and it is gone. Now I'm hoping that I have an alternate source for a screw that will fit that thread. This one's a little loose. It's the right thread, just a tiny bit too small. That one kind of fits. Okay, given the option, I think I'm pretty much stuck. Flip that off. Now hopefully I can get that back out of there. That says this is a 440 thread. See if I can start this thread in that little spot there. Yep, and it'll go in there and it'll tighten up. Not exactly perfect, but this little screw is brass, plated brass, and doesn't pick up with a magnet. I can't find it. It's not anywhere I can find on the floor. Fortunately, storeroom comes to the rescue. Now, in a router, it has a problem. Routers are notoriously vibration. They have a lot of vibration, so probably need to find need to find the proper screw, because it's an odd size. Need just enough to go over the end of the terminal and make sure it's attached to the wire. Those wires are in good shape. Should be, because it's a brand new outlet or brand new cord for a different piece of equipment. I bought it at CEM a long time ago, thinking that I wanted to change the cord on one of the drills. So I bought like 4 of them at the same time. So now I have this one left that I didn't use, and it's going to get used on this router. There we go, it's 1. 2. 3. Now we'll do the shrinky dinks. Always need to let that hot air gun cool off, otherwise it's going to fry something. Okay, so we go in here and we attach the wires to the switch. Now you don't tighten down the screws with this. This is only for starting screws. I used to find guys that I'd give these to and say, you know, you're really going to like this. And they'd say, well, it bends. I'd say, well, you're supposed to just start the screw with it. You can run it down, but you don't tighten screws with it. And they would invariably tighten a screw with it and twist the end right off of it. I need to tuck this down, in, out of the way. So that it doesn't engage the commutator. And then connect these wires. tuck them down inside. That'll be the trick of the week, is getting these tucked down inside so that they don't rub against the commutator. Can I see down in there? Yes, I can. Good. If I need to, I can reach down through the holes in the top and tuck things back out of the way so that they don't jam into that commutator, and not much maneuvering. Okay, got the screw started. With the cord unplugged, of course. I connect that. Nothing there. Nothing there. Shell is grounded. There we have continuity. Okay. Turn on the motor. Okay, now I'm going to set this vertical. Unplug it. Pull this little screw out. Now why did I unplug it? Because if I drop this down inside the motor, it's going to short something out. Don't want that. Give a little drop of oil in there. That's 30 weight non-detergent. That's what I use on all the machines down here. Okay, plug this back in again. It spins down a little better. Part of that might be because it's vertical. Sometimes motors just have a place that they like to run better. Okay, with this thing unplugged, again, catch hold of the frame there, nice and solid. There we go. Nice to have a variety of tools to work with. Well, there's a problem. I need to take the collet off in order to take that bearing cap off. And I can't reach down in and oil the bearing with the cap on. Perhaps this is just going to be a problem until I can figure something out. Doesn't need to be done today. Might need to give it a little time to think. There. What little bit of running time it had, it didn't heat up. The bearing's not running hot. I would think that there's a way to pull that off, but I don't know what it would be right now. So rather than damage something just in an effort to smack something apart, I'm going to let that sit. And we'll do some research. Okay, everything's unplugged, turned off. We'll let this sit for a while. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.